Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Cappelletti Courts, right here at Cleveland Heights High School Gymnasium, where we're going to honor the life of one of the greatest coaches to ever do it, to sit on the sideline in high school basketball history, Coach Jim Cappelletti. And he was definitely the architect behind Cleveland Heights basketball. He was not only a coach to some, he was also a mentor, a community leader. He was also definitely a people developer. He was also a great friend as well. And I had a lot of memories with Coach Cap that had nothing to do with basketball. And I just want to say thank him for everything that he's done for myself and everybody out here sitting in the stands here as well. So we're going to introduce the family of Coach Cap. We have his daughters in the house. We have Kathy and Sharon. Right. We have his son, James Jr. We have his grandchildren. We got Michael, Jennifer, Mia, Carly, and Matthew. And Matt used to be one of the ball boys for the team, and when he got in high school, he became one of the great shooters in Cleveland Heights history right here too. So thank you guys for being here. All right, so we're gonna have some speakers come up and talk to you guys. Just a reminder, we're gonna ask the speakers. First off, my name is Ahmad Crump, class of '94. Right, yeah. So I'm gonna have some speakers come up here, and we're gonna keep it to 3 minutes a piece, if you can. You know, I know Coach Cap meant a lot to everybody, so if you can, we could please keep that tribute to 3 minutes. So first, coming up, we have, we're gonna honor our 2000s teams. And to do that, we have former Cleveland Heights great and current Kansas City Chiefs tight end, Mr. Travis Kelce.
Man, oh man, it's to the family. Thank you guys for being a part of this Cleveland Heights community, and thank you guys for keeping Cap together all those years. I know he had a lot of knuckleheads in this room that made his life a little bit harder, which I know for a fact I was one of them. But I was actually the last team that Cap ever coached here at Cleveland Heights, and you know, it was an honor. I came into Cleveland Heights as a kid that grew up playing hockey, baseball, basketball, football. I was very fortunate that my father and my mother were able to get me in these other sports. And I just remember going into my 8th grade year playing summer league, having a few older guys teaching me some things in the Heights Summer League, that Coach Cap came up to me personally in 8th grade and said, "I want you to play basketball," because he knew that it was still in me to play hockey or basketball. I hadn't chosen yet. And that from that day on, my life really changed. It flipped because the history, the tradition that Cap brought to this community through the basketball program, through him teaching in the Heights, it gave me a sense of pride that, oh man, he wanted me to be a part of that. And everybody in this room that's played under him, that's been around him, knows exactly what that means. And it's even more special to have a guy that's gone the lengths of basketball. Started at Roxborough all the way through the Heights. Mr. Bremer, Coach Bremer now, taking that lead from here on out. And it's exciting to have guys back in the community that can make this thing what we all know it used to be and what it should be. But a quick story, I was in 8th grade. He told me, yeah, I want you to play basketball. I didn't know what that meant at that time, but I got to Heights, I chose basketball, and Cap threw me on varsity. Didn't just throw me on varsity. made me the starting power forward on varsity as a freshman, and that's unheard of at Heights, as we all know. To say the least, I was scared. I was not ready to go up against what I thought were grown men in high school. The first game, we played Camp McKinley, and sure enough, going into the season, Camp McKinley's ranked top 20 in the country. They got about 5 guys that already going Division I, and their top player, Raymar Morgan, at the time was going to Michigan State. And we get to the game, and Coach Lamb gets up on the board, and he's saying, all right, this is who you got. This is who you got. Kels, you got Raymar Morgan. I'll sit there, I'm like, Coach, you gonna put me on the best player? Sure enough, the first tip goes, I get set a back screen, and sure enough, Raymar Morgan's in the air doing his LeBron James, Michael Jordan all over my head, and it was a learning experience, to say the least. And what Cap gave me in terms of confidence and a mindset to attack life unafraid, because everything turned out just fine. But to attack everything unafraid, with confidence, with the ability to be comfortable with the people around you, and to know that you're not in it alone. That's something that I cherish every single day, and it just makes me more proud to be a Heights Tiger. So thank you guys very much. Cap, we love you.
Thank you very much. Quick story, which reminds me, Orlando Barnes right there, one of the catalysts of the 1993 state Final Four team. We grew up together on East Derbyshire. And he used to always tell me, you better practice your game. I was in his backyard all the time. You better practice, or you will not make this team. I'm like, whatever. Tryouts come, 9th grade year, tryouts come, and he's not here right now, but Ron Johnson, I saw Coach Cap talking to him the whole time. He's a freshman just like me, but Ron is 6'6" at the time, and I'm 5'4" at the time. Still 5'4" right now. So Ron, I'm staring at him like, why is Coach Cap talking to him? Ron is working hard, Ron is doing all the drills. I'm just sitting there watching everything, and I got upset that Coach Cap was staring at Ron. And Ron looks at me and says, dude, what are you looking at? You know, and I said, nothing. I said something to him, I don't even know what I said. But Ron looked at me and said, I guarantee you get cut from this basketball team. So when he said that, I'm like, okay, cool. I'm gonna take that as a bet. So back then, I'm not sure how they do it now, but everybody had numbers. You had to wear numbers. I'm pretty sure everybody's familiar with that. You had to wear a number. And I put that number on, and I thought I did my best. And you had to, Coach Cap told us the next day, look for your number on the board next to the athletic office down by the lunchroom. So I'm pumped up. I'm looking at Ron. I'm guaranteed I'm gonna make this team. I look at the list. At the top, wasn't on there. I was not on there. And I looked at Ron, and Ron laughed at me so hard. And to this day, me and him are some of the best friends that you could imagine too. As bad as he treated me back there, me and him are great friends to this day. So yeah, Coach Cap, he definitely, we definitely had talks as well too, and he gave me a lot of life lessons as well too, and I thank him for it all the time. So right now we got a proclamation that is we're gonna present to the family. We have Mayor Carol Rowe and Councilman Craig Cobb.
Good afternoon. Great to be here. I'm not a Cleveland Heights alum, but I feel like I should be an honorary one. This reminds me of being in a pep club at my high school, so this is really a great experience, and we're both glad to be here. Councilperson Cobb is the newest member of Cleveland Heights City Council. So we have this proclamation from the city of Cleveland Heights that for almost 40 years, Coach Cappelletti was a driving force involved in the Heights Tiger sports and most especially its basketball programs. As a coach, he instilled a work ethic and a passion to be the best on and off the court in his players. He coached the Heights Tigers basketball teams in over 500 games and led the teams to the state finals and ultimately a state championship. He believed in discipline, athletic dedication, and the need and importance of teamwork. When you saw Jim, you saw energy and commitment and a big smile. He was a mentor not only to his players, but to many of the young coaches throughout the county. He had an impact on Cleveland Heights for decades, not just at Heights High, but in the community. On behalf of the City Council and the community of Cleveland Heights, we celebrate this well-deserved recognition of his life and his work. His life was truly a life well lived. So I would like to present this to the family on behalf of the city. We're grateful.
Thank you very much for that. Right now, we're going to have a community tribute. We have a close friend and colleague of Coach Cap, and also longtime friend and the City of Cleveland Heights Recreation Director. We have Kim Kravitz-Lash and Larry Shaw.
Well, this is a familiar place for me since I come to all the Heights games, especially now that I'm retired. I'm Larry Shaw, and I was commissioner of Cleveland Heights Recreation and Sports Programs from 1981 to 2014. So I worked with, directly with Jim Cappelletti for over 25 years, and it was very rewarding. But I think that, to me, Cap's greatest gift in our communities, Cleveland Heights and University Heights, was his caring for all of the kids. Like all good coaches, he cared about kids of all ages and fortified the loyalty to the Heights system. So he started the Tiger Cubs program here at Heights High, played it in the East Gym as long as he could, even though they had, almost no baselines. But he did it, and he got hundreds of kids in Cleveland Heights and University Heights involved. He eventually, when the recreation pavilion was available, he moved the summer program to the recreation pavilion, and eventually Heights built the community center in 2002. So he finally had his dream of 2 high school-sized basketball courts with modern wooden floors, drop-down baskets, breakaway rims, and believe it or not, air conditioning. I'm sure anybody that played in the recreation pavilion understands that. But besides all of that, Cappelletti had over 300 kids in the winter program and over 200 kids in the summer program. He convinced Mark Sack to help run the winter program for over 30 years, since he was involved with the basketball team and wasn't able to do it. But he also ran the summer program all the years that he was at Heights High. And believe me, he had opportunities to go elsewhere, make a lot more money, but his dedication to the kids in Cleveland Heights, went all of that. So basically, he promoted the development of travel teams in Cleveland Heights. He led to which led to the foundation of the Heights Basketball Academy, which is run by Dushan Hill, who has a son playing for Heights, and by, of course, our Heights legend, Damon Stringer. So in short, Cap did so much good for the communities and the youth of Cleveland Heights and University Heights. It was his great work on behalf of all of them, besides what he did as a coach here at Cleveland Heights, that makes him deserving of all the accolades that he is getting today. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Kim Kravitz-Lash, and this is, I don't know if you could see her, but this is my granddaughter, Etta, and she wanted to come with me today because she's heard lots of stories about Coach Cappelletti. I started working at Heights High School as the crisis and drug and alcohol counselor and guidance counselor in 1991. And I'd probably say a month into my working there, this gentleman comes into my office and he goes, "Hi, I'm Cap. I hear you love basketball." And I went, he talked about basketball, and I've loved basketball my whole life. And I thought, how does this man know that I love basketball? Well, he never would tell me, but anyway. So that was the beginning of our friendship. And the friendship lasted until he left, into another realm. Cap was a friend, a mentor. He got me so involved with the boys' basketball team over the years. I feel so blessed because I met the most amazing young men, and I got to work with them. And actually, one of them, I'll never forget, and I don't know if he's here or not, Theo Dixon taught me how to make a foul shot. In the gym, he'd go, "Kim, aim for the square." And I used to come in here, like if I had a few minutes, I'd be practicing to make it for the square. So, the wonderful, wonderful things happened. I have in my backyard a tree that my grandchildren, myself, I call it the Cappelletti tree. It was generously given to me by Nancy and Cap when they were going to move from their home in Gates Mills. So we have this tree that was very small and now is very tall. And, it's so cute because everyone in my life calls it the Cap tree. We go, "Look what happened. Oh, there's a bird in the Cap tree." So I think about him every single day. When I saw him about 6 or 7 weeks before he passed away, he said to me, "I want you to do me a favor." And I was thinking, oh, he wants me to bring him something from Corky and Lenny's. I wasn't sure what it was. Maybe a sundae. I didn't know what, corned beef sandwich, something like that. He said, "I want you to make sure that you tell my boys," which meant anyone who's ever played for him, that no matter what he said or how he said it to you, if he offended you, he was sorry, and that he cared about all of you. And I just looked at him and I said, "I promise I'll do that." So I just wanted to say that here, because as he used to come into my office sometimes and his face would be all red, I go, "What happened?" "Oh, I got mad." Well, it's funny, I never saw him mad, but I know he got mad. I heard from many sources that he could get angry, which, was fine, whatever. I was lucky he didn't get angry at me. But I just wanted to tell all of you that he really wanted to make sure that anyone that came in contact with him, he loved you. He may have not said that to you, but he cared and really wanted everyone to know how much he loved and respected you, those young men that he worked with. So for me, I'm just grateful that he was in my life. I got to see him every single day. As soon as we became friends, I'd be in my office or I'd come to the gym every single day, and it was the best part of, one of the best parts of my experience at Cleveland Heights High School. So I want to thank everyone who put this together and send all my love to his family. He was like a part of my family, and I feel like I'm a part of your family too. So thank you.
Thank you very much for those kind words. Right now, we have some coaches' tributes. No, take that back. I'm sorry. We have some parents' tributes to Coach Cappelletti. And right now, we're going to bring up Mr. Glenn Stringer Sr. and Mr. Jack Fogle.
I've been told I have 40,000 stories and memories about Cleveland Heights basketball. I'm not going to go through all of them or we'd be here till the end of July 2020. I would like to talk about Coach Cappelletti, not the wins, not the numbers, but his legacy. Over the last few weeks, I've done a lot of thinking about Coach Cap and what he meant to students, managers, cheerleaders, my family, and people he encountered every day. I wanted to come up with an analogy that I could compare him to. Did you know besides being a great coach and a great teacher, he was also a diamond miner and a diamond cutter? You know, the shiny things on a ring. How do I know that? Because I've come in contact with so many of the diamonds he has produced over the years. He knew that when diamonds are taken out of the ground, they're a little bit dirty, they're a little bit dull, and they don't sparkle like the finished product. But just as diamond cutters know, if they take the diamond, they cut it, they saw it, they sand it, the diamond, they will shine beautifully. So he took his tools and went to work. He did things to show people what it meant to be family and team. He made rules that would help you later in life. Be on time to practice. You might want to be on time to that job interview. He started a rec league so youngsters could start learning about this in the 2nd, the 3rd, and the 4th grade. He had summer camps where players would learn about frustration and the rewards of children getting things right. You all thought that summer camp was about that paycheck. It wasn't about the paycheck. You thought you got this check so you could get yourself a pizza or go to the movies. No, he was already working on you diamonds. You were learning about life's experiences, how the real world works. Everything does not go perfect all the time. Coach Cappelletti knew basketball was a vehicle to build character. The 6 pillars of character are trustworthiness, respect, responsibility, fairness, caring, and civility. Learning to respect your opponent, he always said, builds character. Playing as hard as you can and not always winning the game builds character. He said sitting on the bench, not getting into a game, and being a good teammate builds character. These were the pillars that he was trying to build for the people and instill around him. So now we have the James Cappelletti Diamond Corporation. He knew someday he would have to step down, but he knew he was going to leave the corporation in good hands. I see 2nd and 3rd generation diamond miners and cutters working on a 4th generation, maybe a 5th. I see every day parents, mentors, and coaches cutting, sawing, sanding, and polishing to get those diamonds to shine. You are not only proud of the accomplishments with the children that you mentor only on the basketball court, but for graduation over the last couple of months, with the graduations from preschool to high school, academic achievement. I see people on Facebook, awards for music, art, and science, and the children that they mentor are never going to play basketball. As I look at everyone out here today, I see so many diamonds who are making the world a better place. Diamonds who are teaching young people responsibility, civility, and fraternity. So the next generation will also shine. Coach Cappelletti would be proud of every one of you. I put together a little saying here, a quote at the end. Just stand up for the right things. Stand as an example. If you want something, work for it. I just enjoy being part of the Cleveland Heights basketball family. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Glenn Stringer Sr. I have to say that because of my son. I tell you this, they always called me Big Glenn and him Little Glenn until my nieces and nephews asked, why is that? Glenn's 6'1", I'm 5'7". Well, I used to be 5'7", I'm only 5'5" now, getting shorter. I was asked to say a couple of things, and I don't have a whole lot to say, but I was talking with Mr. Watson, and we were talking about things that Cap had done. And I remember one of the most memorable things I remember was when Damon was a freshman. And Damon was rather young for his age in school. His birthday is in September. So when he was a freshman at Cleveland Heights, he had just turned 14 when he played for Cleveland Heights, and Cap had him on the varsity. And I remember one game out in Mentor, and Damon sat on the bench most of the time. He played on the junior varsity, but he sat on the varsity. And they got to a game where most of the guards had fouled out in Mentor High School. And Cap went to put Damon in the game, and I remember he walked down the bench, grabbed him by the hand, picked him up, walked him to the scorer's table, talked to him the whole time he was there, got him to the scorer's table, and then put him in the game. Now, Damon is a just 14-year-old freshman playing in a varsity game. Tell you the truth, I don't remember who won the game. I just remember that they tied at the end, and Damon had played well. And one of the reasons why I wanted to tell that story was once the game ended and went into overtime, he actually took Damon out and sat him on the bench. And at the time, I was wondering, he played well, why would he sit him down? And the moral of the story is Damon had gotten the game, just 14-year-old freshman, had played well. And Cap, more impressed with his players than his team and whether he won or lost, he wanted to make sure Damon got away with a good experience in that. So when the game went into overtime, he sat Damon down, he didn't play. And I remember the whole thing was that he wanted to make sure that he had a positive experience. I mean, here's a just 14-year-old freshman. He wanted to make sure Damon had a positive experience rather than whether his team won or lost. And that's when I knew that Coach Cap was his players were more important to him than wins and losses and whether the team did well, as long as the individuals did well. So I didn't worry about Damon but playing for Cap for any time after that. And I had a long experience with him, with my oldest son 2 years before that, and then Damon for 3 years. So I always knew that Cap was looking out for the players on his team and not so much whether they won or lost. And I always thought that was an important part of the program, to make sure you develop kids and make sure you didn't worry about whether the score and whether or not the team won, as long as you help develop children and help develop young men to become good citizens of the country. So that was one of the things that I had to talk about Cap. And again, I was most impressed with his ability to take care of the kids and all of that. So one other thing I wanted to say too, J.R. Bremer there, his father and I were best friends in high school, all through high school. We played football together. We ran track together too. His father wore number 22 as a football player too. And so I was able to spend a lot of time with him then. But anyway, I just wanted to say, Cap, have a good time. I know you're in the big, great basketball court in the sky.
Thank you very much for those words, gentlemen. All right, so now we are going to go to the coach's tribute of Coach Cappelletti. So right now, we're going to get former head coach of Bedford. We have Everett Hurd. We have coach for Mentor. We have Coach K. And we have former coach of Euclid, Sean O'Toole.
Want me to go first?
All right. I know they have me down as one of the coaches that coached against Cappelletti and things like that, but I have a little bit more to say. You might want to get a little comfortable. I don't know about that 3 or 4 minute stuff. There's no way in the world I can talk about Cap in 3 or 4 minutes. But when I first came to Cleveland Heights, it was back in 1967, 66, all right? Nothing but, it was all white neighborhood, 4, 5, 6, 7 black families lived in it. And I know I was very nervous, very scared about coming out here and trying to do what I needed to do. And the first person that I met was Cap, all right? And that was before he was the head basketball coach. He used to be the baseball coach. He used to be the pole vault coach. He ran Junior Olympics. So I had all that stuff that I did with Cap before he even became a head coach, all right? And when I first saw him, he had this Dudley Do-Right type look. He had a square chin, nice and young, black hair, wore that little black, windbreaker, had the black pants and the Rydell shoes on. And he just looked like a coach. And man, he took me under his wings, and I prosper. There's four letters that really I think about when I think about Cap. That's TF. First T stands for trust. After 3 weeks, Cap had my trust. I had his trust. My father didn't trust everybody. He certain people he did trust. After 2 weeks, he like, you listen to that man. That man knows what he's talking about. You keep your mouth shut, and you work hard for. And you work hard for him. But I found out you be truthful to Cap, and you work hard, he'll love you for the rest of your life. That's all he ever asked, was that you be truthful and that you worked hard. And it goes both ways, because he was always truthful to me and always worked hard for me. The first F stands for family. Saw Cap, man. He brought us around, his family, fed us dinner, took us to his house. Like I said, I didn't know that was his son, because you was like that when I saw you, And, and he brought us around. And even when he had his grandkids, he brought his grandkids around. Mikey was always there, always around. Every time you looked up, Cap had his grandkids. So you know what? When I go places, guess who I got with me? My grandkids. Guess who I go with and do things with? My grandkids. Guess who I serve dinners to? My team. Guess how I'm a family person. So he showed me how, Coach, you got to be a family man too. You got to be a family man. The next T stands for team. And, and that's by playing on his team. When he first got the head coach job back in when I was a junior, and we couldn't understand why Coach Tager would leave when we knew we were going to start busting out because of all the hard work we had put in. But what happened was Tager left, Cappelletti became the head coach, all right? And the first thing he taught me was that you got to give a good look and opportunities to the people that are trying out for the team. You've heard all these people come up here and talk about all the summer leagues, all these little things he did. That's one thing I took with me. You got to show somebody that I'm going to open up the door, I'm going to give you an opportunity, all right, and you're going to see if you can make the team. I remember Theo, Jeremy, Barnes, all of them cats, Stringer, when they was in the 3rd or 4th grade, and we used to go up to the pavilion. We didn't have no air-conditioned pavilion. It was that bad, hard cement pavilion. And you think that's funny? We played at Wiley. Tell them, Greenwald, Donnie, we played at Wiley. We never come in. We went to the back courts and played on them back courts back there with Cap every time. Every phase is part of the program. All right, what I got from that was, when I say every phase is part of the program, is that if you was a 3rd grader and you was playing a Heights basketball, you was part of the program. If you was a 7th grade coach and you was coaching, you was part of the program. All right, if anybody that tried to touch the basketball that was going to come out for Cleveland Heights High was part of the program. So I took that with me when I went to Bedford. You got to be part of the program. The coaching staff, man, it was like brothers and cousins around there. They we argued back and forth. We fought about things, but at the end, we all came to a conclusion, all right, about how things should be and how things should not be. And my 5 years that I was also JV coach under Cap. So for 5 years, I coached JV, and I saw how he worked all right, got all these coaches in here together, man. Everybody's talking, everybody's doing, you know. Well, how many times y'all done heard Lee Geronimo doing up there talking and stuff like that? You know, and how we go scouting and stuff. Chuck Lamb's getting up the cars over at Honda. You know, we're going on trips where, you know, people just didn't do trips back then. Cap was always there for your support. It doesn't matter what happened, Cap was there to help you out. Got my first job. I had to worry about, I didn't worry about no jobs in the summertime. All right? And that little extra money, that means you have to go to moms and dad and pay for that. You know, can I have some money for this, money for that? Because Cap always had jobs for us. If you was truthful and you worked hard and you was on time and you did those things. So I never had to worry about a job. Always be willing to help. He's always willing to help no matter what. No matter what circumstances you were in or what circumstances that was happening out there, he stuck with you. You know, there's some coaches nowadays that, you know, something happens, they washing their hands and they get away from you. Cap's nothing like that. He was always there to help out and was always there to do stuff for you. He was a coach for life. You know, and the last little thing is that me and Coach used to always talk, and he would always tell me, like, man, I hate playing you, Coach. I hate playing you. And I'm like, why you hate playing me, man? I love gauging my team. I love gauging what I could do. When I finally beat you, I was so happy and this and that. But he said, man, it always hurts me because you was one of my players. And I didn't realize that until I retired and I'm starting coaching middle school. And I got 3 or 4 of my ex-players that I'm coaching against. And they're calling my plays out before they're doing all these things. And I'm sitting there like, man, I hate playing against my ex-players. I take no joy in beating them or them beating me. And now I understood what Cap meant by that. Is that, you've always will be a good friend, you'll always be a good teammate, and, I'll always love you. And once you win Heights, you always win Heights. So thank you.
For those that don't know, my name is Sean O'Toole. I'm the current athletic director at Gilmore Academy, and I'm the president of the Greater Cleveland Basketball Coaches Association. I'm truly honored, excited, and humbled to be here today to speak about my dear friend, Jim Cappelletti. I'm truly humbled because each and every one of you in this gymnasium could easily be standing here right now, sharing your own reflections and remembrances of Coach Cappelletti. He had the uncanny ability to make each and every one of us feel special and important to him. Everyone in this gymnasium understands that we are very, very fortunate to be associated with someone this special. Someone who lives his life with such dignity, such morality, such passion. I have always been raised to respect my elders. So there was no surprise that I have a high regard for veteran basketball coaches. I have always had a deep respect and admiration for Jim Cappelletti and his basketball program at Cleveland Heights. I got to know Jim Cappelletti in 3 different facets in the late 1980s and early 1990s. I competed against him as a player at St. Ignatius High School. I recruited his Cleveland Heights Tigers as an assistant coach at John Carroll University in the early 1990s, and I coached against his teams as a head coach at Garfield Heights and Euclid High School in the 90s and 2000s. These 3 facets sparked a friendship with Coach Cappelletti that I am forever grateful for. Coach Cap certainly had a positive effect on my life. There are many positive attributes about Cappy that I truly admire and try to emulate model on a daily basis. 3 of these attributes shine when I'm asked to reflect upon Cap's career as a coach. Number 1, his loyalty. Cappy retained the core of his coaching staff since I had known him. Coach Lamb, Coach DiGeronimo, Coach Burdine, Coach Johnson, Gus Congilio, and on and on. All these men have assisted Cappy in turning the corner of Cedar and Lee into a state basketball powerhouse. Cappy's ability to utilize each assistant's individual strengths and make these men feel appreciated and respected was a huge component in his success over the years. Second attribute is sincerity. Cappy always treated his players as his second family. There's no question who the head of the second family was either. Cappy loved those players like his own. His love was unconditional, staying by their side through good and bad. And the last attribute that I really admired about Coach Cap was his competitiveness. Cappy never backed down from playing the best possible competition year in and year out. Cappy demonstrated a will to win that was thoroughly contagious throughout the entire program. One of Cappy's best friends on the earth was the late Bob Watson, former head coach of rival Shaker Heights. Everyone in this gymnasium knows the best high school basketball rivalry in the 1990s and 2000s was without question Cleveland Heights and Shaker Heights. It's not even close. These teams played open gyms together year-round. There were no secrets between these two programs. The rivalry was as competitive as any high school basketball you could ever witness. Both Cappy and Coach Watson coached their tails off during these games, motivating their players and working the officials, pushing everyone to try to win that game. The true beauty behind this bitter rivalry on the hardwood, though, was that win, lose, or draw, Coach Cappy and his Cleveland Heights staff and Coach Watson and the Shaker Heights staff would head over to the county after the game and continue a friendship and brotherhood that could never be stained and never be broken. I have two fond memories of Coach Cappelletti. When I was at Garfield Heights as head basketball coach, my team lost to Cappy's team by the score of 113-41, 72 points. After the game, Cappy made sure to make his way to our locker room to boost the spirits of our downtrodden team. He told my players, of all the teams that our team has ever beaten badly, your team played the hardest. Our kids were crying, hugging Cappy, and thank him for taking the time to come over and recognize them. This was vintage Cappy, once again, concerned not only just about his own kids, but all kids in general. Cappy was a very soft-spoken gentleman and generally inconspicuous until he had an opinion. Then he became very strong-willed and confident, always taking the best interests of student-athletes at heart. In 1995, the Cleveland Heights Tigers lost the Division I State Basketball Championship game in overtime by 1 point, a devastating loss for anyone and everyone. I was at the game in the stands. It was time for the Cleveland Heights Tigers to be presented with the runner-up trophy. Obviously, the players were extremely down. The assistant coaches were extremely down. The Cleveland Heights Tiger faithful fans were extremely down. And I'm sure deep down inside, Cappy was extremely down. But instead of sulking and feeling sorry for himself, I see Cappy start walking towards the Cleveland Heights parents and cheering section, imploring their fans to show and voice their appreciation for the boys on his team for the outstanding season they provided Cleveland Heights High School and the Cleveland Heights community. With Cappy, it was never about himself. It was always about the kids. He always won graciously and always lost with dignity. He was a tremendous example for all. Coach Cap will continue to live in the memories and the hearts of those he has left behind. Our lives are emptier by his absence because they were made fuller by his presence. We resolve, therefore, here and now to cherish those memories and nourish them. His legacy will continue to live through the lives of the Cappelletti family, friends, fellow coaches, former players, and this great Cleveland Heights community. Godspeed, Coach Cappelletti.
Great speeches, guys. Great speeches. All right. So right now we are going to have we got Heights coaches that's going to come up and they're going to talk what Cap meant to them over the years here. And these guys right here helped develop the Heights program into the powerhouse it did become. And now we have Vince Johnson, Brian Bedine, Chuck Lamb, and Lee DiGeronimo.
This is the right height, I'll just lean down here. My first time in this new gym, a lot of memories. Going back with Cap 41 years ago, he gave me the opportunity to be an assistant coach, volunteer, do some scouting, coach at 6 to 9 every other week, night practice while I was coaching at Case West Reserve at the time. And it all started from there. And I was trying to figure out how to do 28 years in 3 minutes. And this is a story I've been telling for many years. And it's the one I'm going to tell today. The first 10 years here, we had great players, great teams. I learned a lot. Cap gave me a lot of opportunities to participate. I participated a little bit too much in open gym, playing with the spectacular talents that were playing around me. Therefore, I don't walk too well anymore, but I got better. Anyway, I thought we had talent. I thought we coached well. And we're always missing something in one big game every year, whether it was at Maple Heights, South High. So after about 10 years and 6 years of summers in the pavilion trying to play with the guys, I backed off and just went back to volunteering, did a little golf counseling, some camps. And about 1988, when Cap was getting ready to start his summer camp, which we had started way back in 79, 80, the first week camp, he said, "You ought to come down and see the 6th grader, 5th grader, 4th grader, and 3rd grader play some basketball in this camp." So I came down and I said, pretty good young looking guards, and maybe I'll stick around this summer. Well, I stuck around. I watched them play and grow together. Cap always used to say his favorite statement, "You can never have enough guards." And those gentlemen, 3 of which are here today, made the next 10 years the best 10 years of my life. And Cap gave me a lot of opportunities to participate, but basically what we did was we watched finally the most talented players become the best leaders on the team. And Cap would always give his best players a chance to be leaders. Some didn't take it, some did. I congratulate those players, and especially to Coach Cappelletti for giving me the opportunity. It's been 20 years I've been divorced from basketball. It's a tough divorce, but this sort of called wedding ring was always with me. Thank you everyone out there, all the players. You made for a life that wasn't meant to be, maybe something different, but it was as joyful as 25 years I could probably have ever had doing anything. Thank you. Thank you.
With a heavy heart, I'm sad to say, Cleveland Heights community lost a great man, Coach Jim Cappelletti, who I had the honor to coach with for 20 years. He was a mentor, friend, gave me the opportunity to coach by his side at the young age of 24 years old. Over those years, I learned many lessons from Coach Cap about hard work, patience, technique, and how to build young players into winners, winners into champions, and champions into fine young men. Coach Cap put together one of the best coaching staffs in Ohio. We were all about the players on and off the court, and we had good relationships with their families. Our staff was great, and we really and truly enjoyed each other and respected everyone's knowledge of the game. We had fun when we traveled out of town, different tournaments. It was always an adventure, believe me. We really missed the late, great Coach Carter. I know Captain Carter are talking X and O's, and Gus is keeping the scoreboard. People will ask, Coach B, why did you go somewhere else and coach, be a head coach? I will tell them, I live in Cleveland Heights, I teach and I coach here, I'm raising my family here, but there's no place that I'd rather be than right here at the Cleveland Heights High School. There's no place I'd rather be than right here at the Cleveland Heights High School. I was fortunate to start my career here, teaching, And I ended my career teaching 2 years ago, putting 31 years in as far as teaching. Heights is my home. This is my home. I went and visited Coach Cap Tuesday night, the day before he passed away. The nurse said he couldn't talk, but he could hear what you said to him. So I held his hand and talked to him for about an hour and a half. But all the fun and funny moments that we shared, family, tough times, all the players we coached over the years, I shared with him all the Final Four memories in our state championship in 1997. Also, how much it meant to me. That was very precious and dear to me. I thank Coach Cap for everything he has done for me and my son. My son little Lee grew up here at the gym. He was here at 6 months, running around, not running around, but crawling around at the basketball. And he was here every day. I told Coach Cap I loved him, and I knew he heard me. Because throughout our conversation, he would squeeze my hand every now and then. If it wasn't for Coach Cap, there would never be a Coach Burdine in Cleveland Heights, who was given an opportunity to coach and inspire so many young players who have gone on and lived successful, productive lives. Rest in heaven, Coach Cap. God bless his family. Mrs. Cappelletti, God bless you. God bless the high school. Thank you.
All right, I'm Vince Johnson, in case you don't know. And actually, I grew up in the Colorado area and moved to Cleveland Heights around 78, my 8th, 9th grade year. And at that time, Colorado was going through a lot of issues, racial tensions and other things, of course, we deal with in our community. And when I came to Cleveland Heights, I was concerned and nervous because I didn't think there was a lot of people of color up here, which it wasn't at that time, nothing like the community is now. And I would frequent Denison Park, Cumberland, Kane Park, play basketball, knew nothing about the community. Until somebody of mine finally said, hey, there's a rec center we can go play ball at. And at that time, I was probably about 6'2", and luckily I was probably maybe 140 pounds, and met Coach Cap. And he took a liking to me. And we started having our relationship at that time. As I look at the program and I see all those gray hairs, I know I contribute to a lineup. 10th grade year, there was only 2 guys here put up the varsity, myself and Kevin Haddon. And due to some disciplinary issues, I got moved back to JV. But he didn't quit on me. He kept the program and he continued working with me. 11th, 12th grade year, on the team, one of the better players in the area, and I look at our schedule, and we lost 6 games my senior year, 5 of them probably because I was suspended for some reason. But again, never quit on me. He was always there for me. And I had a buddy that used to tell me, he used to always say, that this goes full circle. And even though I knew what it meant, I never truly understood until I looked at my time and my relationship with Coach. I went on to college, Jim Cappelletti All-American, was able to play Division I basketball, came back to Cleveland Heights, a community I always loved and cared for. Coach Cappelletti helped me get my first job, which was at the rec center, in which, my second job was the first job, of course, working in the building, where he provided for all of us at the time. But he helped me get my first real job, working as a youth sports program coordinator for the city of Cleveland Heights. And at that time, we started to build even a bigger bond, because I not only went from being his student, his player, but then his supervisor, because I was in charge of the summer league, even though he actually supervised me. But we had a truly love for each other. And although I didn't come from a broken home, I always had my parents, mother and father, my grandparents. Other than my grandfather and my father, Cap was like one of the most important people in my life. After leaving the rec center and going into teaching, he gave me an opportunity to join his coaching staff. And my time with the coaching staff was probably the best time of my life. I truly love that man. I will truly miss him. And I want to say to the family, thank you for sharing him with us.
I tell you what, coming to the games back in the day when I used to watch the 90s teams, one thing that I used to really look forward to is to seeing what sweater Coach Bedine was going to wear. I tell you, man, Cosby had nothing on there. All right, so right now we got a couple of videos that we're going to play right now. This gentleman played for the Cat in the 60s, longtime coach. Now he's an assistant coach for the Dallas Mavericks. From 1960 team, Larry Shack.
Foremost to Nancy, to Sharon, Kathy, Jimmy, and all your immediate loved ones, we Shiats convey our most sincere sympathy and compassion to all of you. And to all of us that are here, fans and friends and former players, it's a wonderful day to appreciate this gem of a man, teacher, and mentor to all of us. In my case, differently than a lot of you here, Cap was actually my junior high school coach at Wiley Junior High. He totally captured my heart and totally captured the team spirit in the game of basketball when he taught me and convinced me out of swimming competitively and joining his 8th grade basketball team, which turned out to be really the circle of life, because 10 years later, on June 15th, 1975, exactly to the date today, small world, Coach Cap was in Pam and my wedding, wearing that yellow tux, which all of you would have been shocked to see at that time. He was my first coach, my first mentor, and the gatekeeper to my future in coaching. He taught me, as well as I'm sure a lot of the former players here, how hard work, humility, and most of all, developing relationships and trust would be the battle that all of us face both on and off the court for true success. I had a chance a couple of years ago to speak at the Nike clinic in Cleveland. I invited Cap and was happy that he was there so I could tell him to his face how proud I was. So, for all of you, most of all, family, enjoy this day. Enjoy this man's legacy. And think good thoughts.
Great, that was great. That was the 60s honor. Now we're going to honor our team from the 70s. And this gentleman played for Cap in the 70s, former professional basketball player. He became a great coach as well. Please welcome Dwight Howard.
Good afternoon. Good afternoon. I know that I'm going to give 3 minutes to speak. I come from a long line of Baptist ministers, right? I can't clear my throat in 3 minutes. But I did ask Vince Johnson to pull on his ear, let me know my time is up. I'm going to give a little bit too long. What I've learned in my life is that you don't measure the quality of a man's life by what he says, right? Because in doing so, he's going to talk about all the good things he thinks he's done. You also don't measure the quality of a man's life by what his family say, because obviously they have bias. You measure the quality of a man's life by what the community says. In my life, outside of my family, there are probably about 4 people who really changed my life. And Coach Cap was the first. I first met Coach Cap in March of 1975. At the time, they were making their run through the state tournament. And some kind of way, I wandered into the gym when they were having practice. And they were circled up, and Coach Scott was, I guess, giving them pre-game instruction before practice. And he saw me out in the corner of the clock, and he said, "Can I help you?" And I said no. I left the gym. Neither he or I knew that those 4 words, "Can I help you?" was going to be as important to me and in our relationship. Now, I'm not stupid. I mean, and I understand that when he was saying, "Can I help you?" he was being real polite and basically saying, "Man, I'm in practice. You interrupted my practice when you get out of here." Right? I'm not stupid. I know that to be the case. But can I help you? So I'm going to talk just briefly about what Coach Scott did for me off the court. Right? Without asking, he introduced me to a couple of sports agents in the Cleveland area after he learned I had been invited to the Philadelphia 76ers rookie camp. Without asking. Without asking, he gave me a key to the pavilion where I was able to go in there at night and work out by myself, sometimes taking other former Heights ball players, people like Lloyd Franklin and others, to help me get ready for camp without asking. He personally arranged for me to have interviews for jobs at Channel 5 with Alan Davis. Some of you all probably remember Alan Davis, and Gary Stromberg. I think Gary was a Heights graduate. Without asking, he did those things. He even got me a job, although I didn't take it. He got me a job at the city of Cleveland as a housing inspector. I knew nothing about being a housing inspector. But somehow he talked to the people and he helped me get a job as a housing inspector. I didn't take the job. I ended up going to South America playing basketball. But, you know, he did those kinds of things without asking. He even wrote a letter of recommendation for my daughter to get her first job at Dots. I don't know if you all remember Dots. It used to be up in Southern Center. He did that without asking. Those 4 words, "Can I help you?" No truer words can be spoken about this man as it relates to my life. I just began my comments by saying you don't measure the quality of a man's life by what he says. You measure it by what the community says. As I look over this room, the community definitely has spoken. So on behalf of all the players that's here, all the individuals who were part of the Heights program, I personally want to say thank you, Coach Cap, and thanks for the assist. Thank you.
80s and helped his team start the legacy of great basketball right here at Cleveland Heights High School. Please welcome up Mr. Randy Smith.
They come them crazy 80 babies that Coach D. Geronimo was talking about. I was one of them. First of all, I want to say thank you to the Cappelletti family for sharing Coach Cappelletti. He was a tremendous person. So my family moved to Cleveland Heights in 1973. So we didn't know Coach Cappelletti at the time. I never heard his name until about 1977. The reason I heard his name in 1977 is because he cut my older brother. Mama Smith wasn't happy. So in 83, when I came up, I said, Mama, trying out for the team. She said, no, you're not. He cut your older brother. I said, well, Mom, I want to play. She was still mad. I snuck and tried out for the team. But prior to that, I remember playing an all-star game over in an old gym. I don't know, Coach D, you remember this. I probably was 160 pounds, dripping wet, about the same height. But I had a long jerry curl, so I looked like a girl running down the court. I remember getting a steal and going court, full court. I did a 360 layup. And Coach Cap turned his back and shook his head. I said, uh-oh. After the game, Coach D. Geronimo came up to me and said, we don't do that again. I said, oh, scrap, I'm gonna get cut. Lo and behold, I did not get cut. And some of the things that Coach Cap taught me, I still remember today. He taught me how to get out of my comfort zone. At that time, 10th grade was only up here, and he put me on varsity. And I remember every day after practice, I would meet him in the gym downstairs, and I said, Coach, I want to go back to JV. He goes, what's wrong with you? I said, you know, all my boys are playing on JV. I don't want to play on varsity. These are grown men up here. We had guys like Kelvin Calhoun. Calhoun was 6'7", 3, 280. I don't know what, he was huge. I'm 170 pounds at this time. But I remember at the bank when he told my dad, he said, I never had a player ask to go back to JV as much as you did. But he made me understand by getting out of my comfort zone, he had more confidence in me than I had myself. So I appreciate that from him. My senior year, he taught me another lesson, how to deal with adversity. I remember going into the locker room as you had cuts. You know, we had to go downstairs, we all lined up. And I was first one. So I'm not getting cut, I know that. I've been on the team since 10th grade. He didn't cut me, but he cut all the singers except for me. I was pissed off. I said, Coach, you're gonna rebuild on that's my senior year. And he tried to explain to me, trust me on this. And I remember the first 2 or 3 games I was spilling. Lo and behold, we were LEL champs that year. I think he knew what he was talking about. Taught me how to deal with adversity and how to become a leader. To what Coach D would say, I really hadn't learned that until my senior year. It took me that long. Coach Hurd talked about a family here, and it's funny as I look around how many people he touched. Lloyd Franklin, brother Bobby Franklin, was the one that helped me get into college. Coach Burdine was in my first wedding. You probably don't even remember that. Coach Burdine was the reason I always got to that class. He always gave me a pass. I could come here and shoot jumpers. But he touched so many people. The things I used to remember and still remember today when you talked about Coach Cappelletti, you always talked about the pavilions. You always talked about the tunnels. And man, he ran the heck out of us in those tunnels. I remember those. 6 inches, you had to lay on the back and do those 6 inches. He loved those. But he also talked about family. And as you can see today, there's a lot of us here that are really connected because of him. And we learned a lot. So to the family, to everyone here, I appreciate being a part of the family. Thank you very much. And I look forward to seeing you all, throughout the rest of the years and here again, watching Mr. Brimmer coach these guys, hopefully to another state championship. Thank you.
All right, so during the 1990s, basketball was revived right here in Cleveland Heights. They made it down to this city called Columbus quite often down there. And we got a video that we're going to recognize from 1995.
1995 proved to be an exciting season for Tiger basketball as the men's varsity team sizzled to another Lake Erie League Divisional Championship with a 25-game winning streak, breaking the old school record of 24 that was set just a year ago. But for the team, this year's greatest accomplishment came during the team's third consecutive trip to Columbus, when they were crowned Division I state runner-up, a title that had eluded the men's program since 1975. So who are these local heroes?
I'm Theo Decent. I'm a 6'5", second sophomore, and I wear number 34. My name is Long Jim. I'm 5'5", I'm a point guard. Hi, my name is Jordan Lee. I'm 6'6", junior, and I play center. Hi, my name is Jason Lieberman. I'm a senior, and I wear number 14. Hello, my name is Jeff Johnson. I'm a 6'5" sophomore, and I wear number 14. I'm a 6'3" senior with number 2 power forward. Hi, my name is Jeremy Hall. I'm a 6'4" junior, and I play point guard. Hi, my name is Justin Lee. I'm a 6'3" senior center, and I was ridiculous. My name is Bill Russell. I'm a 6'4" junior, and I play power forward. Hello, my name is Keith Allen. I'm a 6'4" senior, wearing number 32, and play power forward. Hello, my name is Andrew Harvey. I'm a 6'2". Hello, my name is David Taylor. I'm a 6'6" center, senior, and I wear number 42. So, hi, my name is Mike Cousins. I wear number 30, 6'5" forward. Hello, my name is Kevin Springer. I'm a 5'10", senior guard from Cleveland Heights, wearing number 24.
And no team would be complete without the hard work and dedication of the coaches.
I think I have maybe the best coaching staff in the city of Cleveland, maybe in the state of Ohio. Lee DiGeronimo has been with me at least 12 years, has coached our freshmen, has coached our JVs, worked as a volunteer coach, have all helped us to be successful. Coach Brian Burdine, who's coached our freshmen and is now currently coaching our JVs. And I feel that both of those gentlemen, if they were to go somewhere right now, could become head coaches wherever they decided to go. Chuck Lamb, who's been a volunteer coach for at least 10 or 12 years also, and he just loves the game of basketball, loves being around kids, and he's helped us tremendously. He does all our scouting for us, and is also available during the summer times, along with Coach Burdine and Coach Lee, to take our kids to places like Notre Dame and play, out to Euclid and play in our summer leagues. And we played the Cleveland State basketball camp as a team, their team camp. So all those things help us tremendously in getting ready. And then last but not least, Lloyd Franklin, who is currently our freshman coach and played for us in 1975 on the first team to ever go to state in the history of our school. And that's kind of neat too, because he knew the tradition. He played during those years in the 70s when things were really going real well. And so it was easy for him to pick up right in on that. And he's kind of our Pied Piper. He gets probably 75 to 80 ninth graders alone coming out for basketball.
To honor the team and their accomplishments, Cleveland Heights City Council invited the players, coaches, and the community to a special recognition ceremony at City Hall. We'd like to take this time.
I think hard work and dedication and loyalty are the three big ingredients. Our kids and our coaches are hard workers. They're very dedicated to what they do, and they're all loyal to each other.
The more you put in, the more you get out of it. So the harder we practice and the harder we work, the more we win.
That the school is giving us, that the community has given us, it's just been fantastic. For 3 years in a row, we've been invited down to City Hall to be recognized for getting to Columbus. And all of us, all the coaches, staff, and myself, we look at each other and say, boy, if we ever win this thing, the sky's the limit with some of the things that are going to happen around here.
year or 2 years or 3 years. It's just been a real thrill, and I hope they've had as much fun doing it as I and the staff have had working with them. The team is coming in and they got a lot of work to do, and they know it, and I think they're up to a challenge. I really do. We're going to be a young team, but we're going to be a fun team to watch and exciting team to watch. I think everybody will really be surprised when they see us take the floor next year.
During the 90s, and everybody who played on the 90s team can attest to this, it was more than a basketball game. It was an event. It was like, you would call me on Wednesday. The game was on Saturday. You would call me on Wednesday and say, what you doing? I'm just picking my clothes out for Saturday afternoon. That's how serious it was. You iron your clothes, you making sure everything is set up because you had to get there early. JV started at 12:30. If you wasn't there by 11, catch it on YouTube or something. Well, YouTube wasn't even out back then, so you hear about it on Monday at school. So to talk about the 90s, I'm gonna bring the two gentlemen up here to talk about it. They were the Splash Brothers before the Splash Brothers became the Splash Brothers. We got Damon Stringer and Jeremy Holmes.
Good afternoon, everybody. I didn't prepare anything to say. I'm just kind of freestyle this one. Of course, they coupled me with my buddy Jim. We've been connected since like 7th grade. That's been my point guard. From AAU, we traveled all over the country, so it's only right that we're up here together. I know everybody wants to be the coach's favorite, but I really felt like I was coach's favorite. I think maybe it was just this look that he had in his eye at times when he wanted to get something across to me. It was this look of compassion and this look of love that he had for me. I remember first seeing it when we played in like the summer programs when we were coming up, and he would talk to us. He was kind of recruiting us at the same time, but just coaching us, and he just had this look of care and compassion in his eyes. So I'm gonna take you through 4 years real quick. 9th grade, my first game I played, I got in the game against St. Ignatius we were playing, and they were one of the top teams in the area, and I'm a freshman. Coach calls me over. I don't know why he called my name, because I know I'm not winning the game. But he called me over and said, you're gonna go in and you're gonna check Joey Ray. Now Joey Ray at the time was a senior. He was one of the best players in the area. And I'm a little 9th grader. I had never touched the varsity court. And he said, you're gonna check Joey Ray. And my hands are sweating. I'm talking about dripping sweat. But I go in and I try and check Joey Ray. Damien Ezell was over there. As soon as I do it, I'm like, I got Joey Ray. He's like, no you don't, I got Joey Ray. I'm like, no. Coach told me I got Joey Ray. So I'm checking Joey Ray. And that was the first time that he showed me how much trust he had in me, how much he believed in me as a player. And I was so young then, but I just believed whatever he told me to do, then I could go do. So I went in there and I tried to check Joey Ray. I didn't do a good job at all, but I went in and gave it my all. 10th grade year, which was so crazy because Larry Shire had that video. I'm glad he's not there because he would smack me in the face right now. Because he tried to recruit me at Clemson University. He was one of Coach's friends, and he was recruiting me really heavy. He came down to Clemson and Ohio State. And I told Larry Shire I was coming to Clemson. I committed and everything, but I kind of backtracked and went to Ohio State. But me and Cap, we got really close that year. We were trying to pick schools and talking about growing up and making decisions on your own. And I had my dad was great. He's the best dad you could have. But Cap, he did a whole lot for me. He was a father figure. Even though I didn't need him, I could go to him. I could lean on him for anything. So that taught me a lot that year. We got in our junior year, and this is probably the best story I got. Junior year, we had a lot of success as a team, nationally ranked, and I think I was really feeling myself one day. And I was the guy. I had been the guy for a while, and I came over one day and I called in front of the team, we getting ready to go somewhere, and I call him Fat Cap. And hey, Fat Cap, you know what I mean? Because, you know, I'm 15, we kids, we did. That's nothing compared to all the stuff we used to do, but, you know, we just used to joke around so much, and it's a player-coach relationship. We weren't friends yet. You know, he was just my coach. You know, my friends were my teammates, so this is before we became friends. But he just pulled me right out from the hallway. Like, he didn't make he pulled me right out of the hallway, and he gave me that look of compassion and love. He said, Damon, have I ever embarrassed you? I said, no, coach. He said, have I ever disrespected you? I said, no, coach. He said, then why would you do that to me? In front of my team, why would you do that to me? I said, Coach, I don't know. I said, I'm sorry, I apologize, and I'll never do that again. But like from that moment on, our relationship changed. He became more than a coach because he just taught me a valuable lesson right there. And I'll never forget that day. You know, senior year, we became friends. I think I was one of the guys from 9th grade to 12th grade. I grew up finally. I was a little older, and we became friends that year. More than just a player-coach relationship. And that just grew and grew and grew. I really loved him as a coach, respect him as a person. And then I found myself, I got into some trouble, some serious trouble. And I remember the first time I came back and I came home and I came to look, you know, and I came to see Coach, and he had that same exact look in his eye, that compassion and that love. There was no disappointment. I hadn't let him down. And, you know, I just told him, I said, Coach, I just always wanted to make you proud, you know. Couldn't win the state championship for you, which I really wanted to do for Coach. You know, and he told me, he said, Dan, you've always made me proud. You have nothing to worry about. So from that day forth, the burden was lifted for me, and he just became my friend from that point on. And up until his health took a turn, even when I used to see him, he would roll me in the games, or I would go out and see him, there was that same look in his eye, that same love, that same compassion. And I just want to say, you know, rest in heaven, Coach.
Good afternoon. There's no way I'm going to do 3 minutes. The one thing I do want to do is I want to get the bad part out the way first. I'm going to tell my bad story. I think if I'd have known that Cap went to Shaw, I would have played for him. There's just something about those sharp partners that I don't like. But he never told us that. So I'm going to give you a bad story. When I was in the 9th grade, I was pretty skilled. I actually thought that I was better than I was. And so first day of practice, and I was with the varsity for the whole summer. So if you know anything about the seniors and juniors that year, Ron Johnson, Danny Zell, Nate Bishko, those dudes were crazy. So the beginning of practice, the ball rack is on the side. So he blows the whistle and he's like, ball's up. So I watch all of them just take the ball and just fling it toward the rack. So I said, well, shoot, fling my ball toward the rack. So I fling my ball towards the rack, and I'm the only person who got in trouble. So he was like, Holmes, you better go get that ball. I'm like, but they didn't have to go get theirs, right? So because I said something back to him, he told Coach Burdine, sit Holmes' butt down until I say so. And so even though I was amongst the varsity, he humbled me very quickly because he let me know that I hadn't earned the right to do what those guys had done because they had put some years in. But I just feel like my experience is different because I became a captain. So for 2 years, I got to walk in his shoes. And so you never really can judge a man or make determinations until you walk in that man's shoes. And so what I did for 2 years, he did for almost 40, and I can't even imagine it, right? And so my mom is I'm her only child. So what Cap did for me is he gave me brothers, right? I grew up in the house by myself, so all I could do was dribble the bag in basketball. I didn't have nothing else to do. And so I always imagined, where would I be at without basketball, right? Basketball has shaped everything that I've ever done in life still to this day. From me playing myself to now I'm giving back. I'm excited with Coach Bremer being here. I'm definitely going to be by his side, to help him out, even though it didn't work out for me. Heights basketball is bigger than I am. And so in 1995, I played in the state championship game, and that's always going to be a special time. It's so special that I don't even remember that video at all. I don't know. You remember? I don't remember that video at all. Theo, you remember that video? I don't remember it at all. So we're actually getting old, and that song wasn't the greatest song. They should have picked a different song than that. But 1995, I played in the state championship, and 20 years later to the day, I was able to coach in the state championship in my first year as a coach. And I wondered where a lot of those things came from. Like Coach, I forgot who said it, but they said, Coach Herb said, he took the program. And so what I did was, when I got to Central Catholic, I took Heights with me, right? Everything that I had learned from Cap, I tried to emulate that, and it worked. And so it just shows how special he was as a man. But I'll leave you with this. My dad, he took me to the pavilion when I was in the 3rd grade, and Coach Cap said that one day you'll play on my varsity team, and I believed him. So everything I did leading up to that, that allowed me to get to that moment. And so I held him true on his word, and he changed my life forever. So thank you to the Cappelletti family, because I understand that any man that takes time away from his own family to be with yours, you should cherish that person. Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. To be successful on any level of any basketball team, you got to have a player that's willing to do whatever the coach says. If you need a bucket, if you need a charge, if you need a defensive foul, whatever the coach needs, you got to have a player like this on your roster to be successful. I'm going to bring up one of the leaders of the 1993 state Final Four team, Orlando Barnes.
Hello to everyone. Again, I played with Jim Cappelletti in 1993. I met him in, I believe it was 83. I was running track. Me and Glenn Stringer was running track for a Tiger Track Club here in Cleveland Heights. One of our coaches was Tracy Hall, if I'm not mistaken. But there was another kid that ran track with me named Danny Gould, and he asked me did I like to play basketball. I said sure. I had a basketball hoop in my backyard, so playing basketball seemed pretty easy to me. He said come down to the pavilion. When I get to the pavilion, I see a bunch of kids older than me, younger than me, and my age as well. And I just thought it was just real cool just to be in this place and see all these people. I thought Coach Herb was a cool guy, you know. He talked to everybody the way that we was talking at that time. He didn't really like talk down to you, as in you was a kid. He tried to talk to you the way that your friends would talk to you. So I just thought that was just special, so I just wanted to be around him. He was the first Steve Harvey to me. I think Steve Harvey's show was really about shooting. But I just thought it was cool. So I got to play basketball. There was another kid named Mark Faust, who was pretty good at that time as well. So I just wanted to be better than him. I wanted to be, how they talked about him, I wanted to talk about me like that. So I played the basketball game a little bit different. Every shot, I'm taking that shot. You know, you need a rebound, I'm going to get that rebound. We need a steal, I'm going to get that steal. So at the end of the day, Mr. Cappelletti walked over to me he asked me what my name was, and he said, where have I been? So I've been running track. I said, you're not fast, so quit running track. He didn't know I had an 80 record at that time, but anyway, I started skipping going to track. My mother paid me to go to track, and I started skipping that just to go to the pavilion and play basketball because this place opened up at the building, opened up maybe at 10 in the morning. I think they had like sports camp going on or something like that. But then about 12 o'clock, 11 o'clock, basketball started rolling out, so, I picked up a basketball, keep dribbling till it's my turn for my group to go out there and play. So he made me play with the older kids, then I get to play with my group. My older brother, Kurt Cummins, he was going there, so I just knew I was in the right place because he was a cool guy in the neighborhood. So, what time you going tomorrow? He said, anytime you going, so I'm trying to be at his house and follow him to the gym. Couldn't play with him, but I was a little brother. I wanted to go where he was going. So they came up with kids used to play halftime of the varsity games. So I always wanted to be on that team playing the halftime varsity games. So we'll have a tournament on Friday, we playing Saturday game. My team never got picked. So I'm like, Cap, my team won and, I want to play a halftime. That's not for you. He was trying to develop some other basketball players to get to the level that we got to in 1993. And I didn't understand that. So when we talk about bad times, hurting times, I didn't realize that I hurt him. I really hurt myself more so than hurting him. But in, I think the years 1991 going to 92, we were playing the best two teams in the city of Ohio, or Cuyahoga County, I should say, St. Joe's and Euclid. And the year before, I was starting point guard in the 10th grade on a team that they don't talk about. Went 4-18. I was point guard on that team, so therefore, I'm the reason why we went 4-18. But the next year, the team got a little bit better, so I'm figuring I'm gonna be starting again. Somebody else can play point guard, but I'm still be the point guard. At that time, Damon was a freshman, so I was watching him, seeing what he was doing. I liked what he was doing, but I was sitting on the bench the first two games, and I didn't understand it. We really didn't have a conversation, but at the end of the game, or the second game, I was just like, I can't do this. So, in my frustration, I took my uniform. He wanted to talk to me and explain to me what was going on. But in my frustration is being a wild, bad kid, don't want to listen to nobody, it's got to be my way or no way. I took my uniform and I threw it at him, and I walked off. Well, for 2 days, my mother and father let me know that they didn't raise no quitting. So I came back to the team, and I tried to get back on the team, and it didn't happen. It wasn't his decision, but it just didn't happen. So I came back in 1992-93, that's my senior year. Did a summer camp at the pavilion. He made me play with all freshmen the whole summer. That was pretty kind of hard to me, but there was something else that had to come along with that. I only get one shot at half. So that means I had to pass, I had to rebound, I had to play defense, but I couldn't shoot. If I shot, I'm back sit down. So I did that. I came back for the team, I made every cut. He put me into the little side ballroom in the old South Gym, if you remember the gym. And he told me that he wants to cut because I quit on him last year. But he couldn't go to states without me. So if you can come off this bench, you'll never start a game, but you'll play. You come off this bench, you can stay on this team. So he kind of lied because he hadn't started in one game. He tried his best not to start in one game, which was the senior game, but when he had 6 seniors on the team, so therefore, guess what? I get to start. So the last game that I played for was probably my hardest game because it's a picture I made a newspaper, and I need some more time on that clock. The game wasn't over. We can win this game. I just need to get back on the court and help the team win the game, but we didn't. And after that, I left and I started a life where now I'm a licensed barber. And when he took his turn, when he went to a nursing home, that was kind of hard for him. And I got a phone call from Adrienne, and she said, someone wants to let you know you should talk to. He's having a hard time here. And thank God we have iPhones, picture phones. And she showed me a picture, and it was Jim Cappelletti. And I'm like, wow, okay, are you okay? He said, you look familiar, but I don't really know who you are. I said, okay, I'm gonna come see you, I'm gonna come check you out. So later on that day, I told my mom about it as well. We had, for the last, at that time, for 2 years, we had been doing Final Four watch parties at Ron Johnson's house. So we took pictures. So I put a collage of pictures together and I took it to him. I also ran with Coach Bernard, Jeremy Holmes, and a couple more former players. I think we was at BW3 or something like that on Mayfield. So I said, I'm going to see Coach Cappelletti. No one went with me, I went by myself. So when I walked into the room, he just looked at me and he said, I know who you are, but I can't tell your name. So I said Lawrence, he said my first name. But it was a hard time for him there. And I wanted to be a part of that, not for myself I wanted to be there for all of us that's here today. No one's here because he didn't make an impact in your life some way, somehow. He definitely in mine because he gave me an opportunity not to be in the streets, not to be a part of gang violence, not to become a thief, become a man. Because that's all I was around was being. We were young, but now we're older, and we're better people because of him. So the times that he was, I think I did maybe like the last 6 months to a year with him in the facility that he was in. And all he ever talked about was you people. He was happy about who you were becoming, who you have became. I remember Mikey, I think he might have been 4 years old. He was our ball boy. He was a guy cleaning for us for a very, very nice amount. But you grew up here. JR, the new coach, you grew up here. So you understand what this is about. We're not just talking about somebody that just had a job, somebody that was a coach. We talk about somebody that made us become who we are today. And I'm very, very proud of it. I'm thankful for the family to allow me to spend that time with him, as well as giving me two. I thought I was his only son. Now I know he has a son. But he was special to us, you know, and to learn the things that we learned, as in when I got a chance to take Jerry with me, Corey, Big C, I always appreciate you asking me, take me with you. And we went. And we learned some things that we didn't know about. I always knew he was a sharp coach. But at the same time, he wanted to beat that school. Me and Damien Zell, we tried to come together to make a videotape highlighting what I feel the 1993 team started. I recognize that 75, am I saying that right? 75 Final Four contestants, but y'all actually was runner-ups because you made it to the championship game, if I'm right or wrong. Right. And at the same time, in meeting you, being in the same room, that's the start. Excuse me, the beginning. And then our team was the start of the next side. And it just kept going to where I became a licensed barber to find out the 97 team became champions. And I didn't even know. People telling me your school won a championship. Like, I'm supposed to be happy because they were happy, and I was. And then to find out that out of all the Division I schools, there's only 2 in Colorado County that have state one division championships in basketball, 3. And guess who's number one? One of them is. That's us, Cleveland Heights. So, when it comes to black and gold, I like to see black and gold with Heights crossing up no Pittsburgh Steelers. Last but not least, this might be the best school in Colorado County because you got a great education, you definitely got a great lunch. We have to worry about the lights being out, power was always on, air conditioning, and we had the greatest coaches of all time. It was definitely hard for him beating you. I didn't want to beat you either because I've been knowing you since middle school, but one of us got to win. I'm glad it was me instead of you. But I still love you, Coach. And it was great for me. You made it easy for me to blend in with Coach Cappelletti because he just knew I was a knucklehead, you know. But at the same time, he had patience for me. And to be a great coach, that's what you have to have is patience. And the things that I learned about him, he believed in us. He believed in this. And it may have took 75 to get there, and then again 93 to get back there, and 95 definitely with Damon. You just one shot away, you know. But if I could call the play, we know the ball will go to. But at the same time, I'm happy for the 97 team. I'm happy for JR. Yeah, I wore 22 as well, so I will definitely be putting a hat on 22 when I come cheer for you. But it's an honor. And I'm happy to be able to talk to this group of people and say my coach was the best. And I'm claiming for mine, even though there's no I in team. All right.
Finally, this young man, the last time Cleveland Heights won a district championship was 2003. Donovan. And they also made it down to Columbus for the Final Four. They took the city on one great ride with the game that went to overtime. And one of the leaders on that team, the catalyst, Darren Jones.
Two things. Vince Johnson, he didn't tell me. About 20 minutes before I was speaking. So if I get a little, tripped up, look at him. Damon Stringer, I was his favorite player. Clearly he's impacted all of this work. Me personally, going back to that year, 2003, down 18, 20. Something I don't like talking about, we're down 20, about 8 minutes ago. I knew he still believed we had a shot. All the coaches still believe. One thing led to another, came back. Standing at the top of the key, 30 seconds left. I got the ball in my hand. Most coaches would have called a timeout. Cappelletti ride. It's been debates. Should I have went to the hole? Should I shot that three? It doesn't matter. Bottom line, Cap believed in me. After I missed the shot, I was going to lose the game. After the game, he told me I would let you take that shot 1,000 fucking times. So that's just a testament to who he was. The belief he had in his players, the belief he had in me, even when I didn't see it. So, thank you, Cappelletti family, for sharing with us for all those years. His legacy will live on through each and every one of us. JR, congrats, man. Bring Heights back.
Mr. Theo Dixon and the new head coach of the Cleveland Heights Tigers, JR Brown.
I didn't know what Cappelletti was. I was just a kid playing basketball, and I didn't know that basketball had this big tradition. So when I started playing, I think my first experience was playing at the pavilion. And when I walked into the pavilion, saw a bunch of kids playing basketball. It was surreal for me because I just knew there was a lot of kids were trying out for the basketball team. You're already just a kid just love to play basketball. Then as time went on, players kind of just like, I don't know, they was kind of like, you're good. And I knew I could play a little bit, but I didn't think that it was going to be such a big deal. I didn't know that I was going to be playing for an amazing coach. And one of the things that Cappelletti had showed me when I got a chance to play was that he was always able to remain calm in every situation. Like I could always learn about what I was doing by how Cap looked. And Cap really never said too much, not to me anyway. And I took that as, I guess I must be doing something right. Because I saw a lot of kids always looking at Cap. Cap was the coach, and so they looking, trying to figure out, if they're doing good, if they're going to make the team. And so I was just one of those kids, just like, I'm just here to play basketball. And so as I got older, I started to learn who Cap was and see who he was, and as a man. And coming from a background where my family didn't play basketball, it was just something that I had a passion for. And I understood the passion. That was one of the things that I saw at Cappelletti. And this is going on forever. I don't know if I'm going 3 4 minutes, but one of the things that I really enjoyed about playing basketball here at Cleveland Heights was just the competitiveness that everyone had. Everyone had a good drive to want to be good. And luckily, Cappelletti brought me along with some of the other guys that I call my friends. And when I was playing in middle school, they would come to the games and learning about all of the history behind Cleveland Heights. That state championship was one of the things that I saw that I wanted to help contribute and give that to Cappelletti. And so once I got recruited, because that was the thing I guess back then. I came along with a team that was really already good, and guys were telling me, "You're gonna be on varsity." So I was a little bit nervous because when I first walked into the gym and I saw seniors, juniors, sophomore, here I am a freshman, and I'm looking at guys like, play, what am I going to do? How am I going to fit in on this team? So, it worked out well. I didn't do it well my freshman year, got in a little trouble, but sophomore year came around. And being a part of that team was, we had a special group of kids, we had a special group of guys. But when I was there as a sophomore, it kind of, after my freshman year, after I screwed up and, wasn't doing my freshman year the whole year, my sophomore year brought things back into perspective. And once I saw that, I had that blunder in my freshman year, that I wasn't going to do that again. And so here I am, experienced playing on varsity, and along the way, it was one of the things that I loved about Cap was that whenever I played, Cap just didn't say anything. And to me, it just felt like with Cap, it was just more of, he's going to be able to figure this out. He's going to be able to do this because, I thought that was the reason why he never said anything. And so that's why I just played, and I enjoyed my time playing basketball at Cleveland Heights. But that sophomore year had taught me that we had a great team, and I was contributing, and that was the motivating factor for the reason why I wanted to win the state championship at Cappelletti, because to me he was just an amazing man. To me, after all these years, I remember Cap looking down in heaven saying, "Thank you, God," because that's the way I look at it. He didn't really say too much to me, and I kind of thought that he understood that. Okay, I know how to get this done. I know how to play a role. I know what to do. And that senior year, that's when we finally won. And I was happy. It was just listening to the all the years that everybody playing. It just made me feel good for him because we captured what I felt that he saw when he saw me play. I felt like he didn't really think that he needed to say too much because I was going to just basically get the job done. He had watched me from probably middle school to freshman year to high school, and all the guys and all my friends telling me that I was, going to be playing varsity, and that kind of just gave me I guess, the courage to just make sure that I kept a good balance of how to make sure that we get out and get the job done for him. And so that was, I guess what that the leader was supposed to do, and I'm just thankful that he was able to make me a part of it. I had an experience. I'll tell you, I had an experience during our season, during our senior season, that it kind of made me take a back. Like, all right, we got a chance of winning this. We got a good team because we got some more recruits to come in and play alongside each other. So, I didn't want to make that. I didn't want to rock the boat and change anything because I knew I've been downstate. I knew the things that you needed and how the team needed to have that chemistry and be focused. And so that was my way of giving back to Cap, what I felt that he deserved. And so I just want to say, Cap will live on forever. He'll forever be a pillar in this community. After 40 odd years or something, he's been coaching basketball. I got to say that he is really truly to me a great coach, a great mentor, a great man, for all the things that he's done for me. And I'm pretty sure he's touched your lives. Everyone here is here for Cap, and so I know that he's touched your lives in some way. So just want to say thank you, Cap.
Hello everyone, I'm Ernie Burner, according to that video. I got a name change now, I go by JR. So, me and Coach Cap, we had like a different relationship, I think, than most players because I was around him pretty much my whole life since about 7, 8 years old. Randy, back in the 80s, him and my brother played together for Coach Cap, so I was always running around on the court, and he always loved me like a son. So I felt like I've been part of Heights basketball family for 30 years plus, just because of that. So Coach Cap, he saw things in people, and he saw things in different situations that most people couldn't see. And the older I get, I start to realize that a lot more. It's just as far as people that he saved in the pavilion, I talked about the pavilion, and he just, I don't even know if we realize or if he realized how many people he saved by opening that up for us players to come in and to be able to get out the streets like Rondo said. Now I'm understanding that while we're in there playing with our peers, he has us in there with the guys that we looked up to, the Jeremys, the Londos, the Glens, the Daniels. Like we were kids playing with guys and being coached by guys that we wanted to be. And that mentally, he knew what he was doing. And now I'm understanding it as becoming a coach of what he was doing. Basketball-wise, he always believed in me. Since, like I said, he knew me. I was never the best player coming up. I was short, I was small, but he just kept pushing that hard work, and it pays off. And those are the type of things that I try to instill in my players, and some of the guys are over there now. Like, there's a lot of things you can't control in basketball, but you can control your work ethic and how hard you go at things. And just listening to Coach Herb talk and Jeremy and Damon and even Randy, Coach Herb mentioned program and family. And when I came into this position, the first thing I said I wanted to start was a program. Like it can't start here in the 9th grade. It got to start with youth. It has to start with middle schools. And then Randy mentioned getting out your comfort zone. And that was one of the first things I said to my guys, that we got to be able to do things uncomfortable. And then Jeremy, he mentioned the family. And that's another thing that I mentioned. And as those guys were talking, I'm realizing that as I'm coaching, it's not really me. It's those things that he instilled in me. Like he's in me, and through me, I'm giving it to you. I'm trying to give it to everybody else. through in our workouts. We're coming in, we have workouts, and you know, alumni has came up and different people have came up, and they'll come to me afterwards and like, JR, the feeling in the gym is not the same. You know, the aura in the air, the feeling is like it's back in the practice. It's like, I mean, this is how it's supposed to feel. And I can't take any of that credit. I have to give all that credit to Coach Cap. And I just hope that I'm able to be a quarter of the coach that he was. And I feel like I've been successful. So now, even in the gym now, when we're in here doing, I know he's in here with me, and he's guiding me, and he's trying to help me as much as he can to give back to everybody else. What I'm proud of is to see how many alumni, the basketball guys who come back and want to help, and want to support, and want to volunteer, and that says a lot about who Cap was as a person. Because I don't know how many programs in Northeast Ohio can have a turnout from the old players to come back and want to give back. If that coach didn't give something to them, if that coach didn't put something in them to love Heights basketball. And everybody here loves Heights basketball. Involved in the community. Like Alonzo Ahmad said, the games, you didn't get here an hour and a half early, you weren't going to get in. So the community felt like they were a part of Heights basketball, and that's something else that I want to instill back in our community. You know, it's just not us out here playing, it's everybody. I want everybody to be happy, I want everybody to follow. So with that being said, I thank the family of Coach Cap for allowing me in your lives, and know that he touched me in a way that words won't ever be able to explain. But hopefully I can give back and make him proud. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everybody. There's going to be a change in the program. I'm going to just let you become aware of that before I talk about the Cappelletti Scholarship. In the program it says there's going to be a video presentation farewell to Coach Cap following my introduction of the Memorial Scholarship. That's going to be moved to after the closing remarks. But I would encourage you to stay. There are a lot of very powerful and meaningful pictures depicting the history of Coach Cappelletti, his teams and his family. So we're going to encourage you to stay if you can after the closing remarks. My name is Mark Zach, and I had the privilege of playing for Cap. On the first Heights team, he led down to the Final Four in Columbus in 1975. It is truly an honor to be here today to help introduce an additional and very special component of Cap's rich and long-lasting legacy. As previously recognized by every speaker before me, Coach Cap was undoubtedly a very successful coach. But his passion went far beyond the court, and as many mentioned, his strong desire and his diligent efforts to help his students and players reach their fullest potential. Coach Cap had a winning attitude on the court and in life. He always pushed his players to be the best possible version of themselves. Coach Cap himself gave back every day. He gave his time, his energy, his advice, and his supportive mentoring services. Whatever the youth of the community needed, Cap was there, devoted to helping them. Cap showed his students and players that each of them had a personal responsibility to the success of the team, to the school, and to the community. In that spirit of giving back, the Cappelletti family has established an annual scholarship award that will be given to a graduating scholar athlete at Heights High who exemplifies giving back to his or her team, her school, and her or his community. Please take a careful look at the program to see that contributions can be made to the Coach Jim Cappelletti Memorial Scholarship by either sending a check to the Heights Schools Foundation or online. And in both cases, please indicate your donation is designated for the Coach Jim Cappelletti Memorial Scholarship Fund. In addition, today before you leave the gym, the Cappelletti Court, you have the opportunity to make your first donation to the Scholarship Fund as representatives from the Heights Schools Foundation are situated at the table by the exit to accept your generous gifts. They can be cash, check, or credit card. Please consider helping to get CAP Scholarship Fund off to a great start. Please understand that any level of donation is a concrete way that we all can help Coach Cap continue to touch the future. Something that many aspire to do, but that Coach Cap truly accomplished in his lifetime. In closing, like many others, I want to say a special thanks to the Cappelletti family for sharing him with all of us over the years. His dedication to his teams and going the extra mile for many of his players undoubtedly kept him away from many family occasions, and for these sacrifices you made, we are eternally grateful. May our beloved Cap rest in peace. Thank you. Okay, now we'd like a representative from the family to step up, please.
I know we've moved into overtime here, so I'm going to be brief. I love talking basketball with my dad. I never got to be the ball boy, but I lived in a lot of cities that had winning teams. I went to IU, I went to Ohio State, I lived in Chicago. I now live in LA, and he thought I was a lucky charm or something because the teams would always do really well when I was living there. I don't think I was, but it was a lot of fun. I love basketball. We grew up here as well, as many of you did. And it was just in my veins. We would come here really every weekend, either watching football, basketball, track meets, whatever it was. I loved the sport, and I loved being a part of my dad's winning and his contributions to the community. One scary thing about my dad, I thought I would never date because he was so intimidating to all the boys and the players. And we thought, we'll never have boyfriends because he's a scary guy when it comes to the young men in this community. So I did get married eventually, but we went to Shaker. I used to sit on the side where I went to school, but I would root for my dad because he was where my heart was. We also had jobs at the pavilion. I guess it was just what my dad did. The lowest paying job, but it was a good one. I think the most poignant thing is that these stories that you're telling warm my heart so much. So much that I didn't even know. My mom said the same. What he gave back to the community. We were really unaware of a lot of it because he was so modest and so quiet as a man, at least at home. We didn't know a lot of what went on, and it's just, it really warms my heart to hear your stories. I'm really here to thank everybody. On behalf of the family, we wanted to thank everybody who helped make this celebration a reality today. First and foremost, I want to thank Coach Marvin and Mary Watson, along with Mark Sapp. They really took the ball and ran with it. In planning this whole thing, I asked a few weeks ago if they had any ideas for this event, and next thing I knew, they were planning it and gathering all of you together, and I'm just so appreciative. I want to thank the committee members as well, Vince Johnson, Brian Burdine, Everett Hurd, Travis Kelsey, and Jeremy Holmes also for helping make this event a reality. We really couldn't have done it without all of you. Your time, your energy, your donations, and I think most importantly, your love for our dad. I want to thank the high school as well and Mr. D'Amato for allowing us to have the event here. It was very fitting to me, given that Dad's name is on the court, that it be here. And our family just greatly appreciates all of you coming to share this celebration with us. The friends, the students, the players, the fellow coaches, teachers, coming together in this gym where he loves spending time and where I think he had the most impact of his life. Over the past year, I came and went from Cleveland a lot, back and forth from LA, and I really did see how modest my dad was, far more modest than he was giving. He, sitting by his bedside during his final days, listening to stories about what he did for kids, about people he came into contact with, was just so beautiful and so wonderful to hear. I think he did do his best to help those around him live to their fullest potential and be better people. I know he did it for us as his children. He demanded a lot, but I don't think it was ever selfish. It was because he loved seeing kids excel, and frankly, I think he just loved being around kids. He had a very big heart, which I know all of you know. I'm just so happy that we were able to reconnect today to talk about the man that we all loved, because I know he loved all of us as well. I believe my dad had his arms around this entire community. And it's incredibly fitting and fulfilling to have remembered him here today. And I thank you.
One more time, a round of applause for the family, everybody. All right, congratulations, you've made it to the halfway point. All right, we're going to do closing remarks. We're going to bring up Coach Marvin Watson to give us our closing remarks.
I had this long 4-page speech planned, but I was just kind of tired, so I'm going to skip the whole thing. But I want to thank the committee. We got together quickly. We put together, I think, a pretty good program. And I want to thank Vince, Brian, Mark, Jeremy, and so forth for putting this together. Again, thank you very much for coming. And we're going to show a quick video of Cappelletti, for the farewell of Cappelletti. And then we're leaving here and going to the 4 Bistro, which is a restaurant bar. I can use a drink, to have a conversation with ex-players, ex-coaches, and community members. Thank you very much for coming. We're going to start the video. We're going to say you can. At Mayfield and Green. 4450. Oh, sorry. 4450. Thank you very much. Video's on now, I think.
Thank you.